Well, let me clean this off, and then I'll make a little video. Hey guys, thanks for coming back to the channel here. Just have a little bit of an update. Normally wouldn't post a video like this, but this past year has been a crazy year. I lost my father last June, and took some time off from the channel. You probably noticed that if you're a subscriber. I apologize for the time I took off, but it was definitely to help not only me and my family, but just to smooth things over and get things done. I also started a new career last year, so that kind of transition made it a little harder. However, this past month, the reason I haven't been on since Christmas actually, is because I actually had a health item that came up. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you probably understand that I have some nasal issues. I actually have nasal polyps, and I do rounds of a steroid to basically reduce the polyps before eventually I'll get surgery to get them removed, which is probably going to happen several times over the course of my life. However, with my doctor again, we decided to reduce them again, and you go on an oral steroid called prednisone. Well, that prednisone does have some bad effects, right? I don't really get a whole lot of side effects from it. However, it does reduce your immune system, right? It is a steroid, and it's an oral steroid. And this time, my little friend, the chickenpox, came back for a nice little visit. Now, I've had the chickenpox way back when, 30 years ago, and this time it came back as shingles. If you're familiar with the shingles virus, it's the same virus as the chickenpox. It stays with you, and there's a possibility, a good possibility, you will be one of the various victims that the shingles has. So, shortly after beginning my prednisone treatment, a couple weeks actually, not quite a couple weeks, before I was set to do some more videos here in early January, I started getting a pain, and so maybe I'll go over a little bit how it went through me. Yeah, it's a little bit different for everybody. So the very first week of January, I started getting a pain in my shoulder here. It was on a Friday. I may have actually had a slight pain on Thursday, but on a Friday I was at work. Just felt like I pulled something or I slept on something wrong. Just kind of like deep tissue pain. Over the course of the weekend, I have a second job, and that job isn't really very aggressive for physical, but I started getting pains not just back there, but I also got pains kind of in the upper chest area. And it wasn't like chest pains like you would say heart attack. Of course, it triggers you to think stuff like that because it's a pain in the chest, and you're trying to figure out, okay, is this my heart? What is going on here? And it was actually kind of in my lower, like below my boob, right? Kind of right down in here, and it would kind of be a sharper pain than it was in the back, but it was definitely a concurrent with that. And Saturday evening, Sunday, same thing, didn't really go away. I had my wife give me a really kind of deep tissue massage on the shoulder blade on Sunday evening, and she didn't notice anything. Everything was just kind of felt definitely better after massage. And then that following Monday, I went back to work, and it just definitely was. I felt more fatigued a little bit. I mean, not substantially, but of course I had this whole thing going on. It wasn't getting better. It just was a dull pain that I wouldn't say is painful. It just, after it's, you have pain for so long, it just becomes annoying and not enjoyable. And that's the big thing that I've noticed about the whole shingles thing is it's, everybody tells you, oh my God, it's so painful. I have a hard time saying it's so painful. I really do. And I understand that everybody has a little bit different occurrence with everything. This is my specific, I guess, experience with it. But on Monday, I also was having oral thrush, and this has happened to me before when I had some medications and stuff, where I was getting oral thrush on the tongue, which is basically a fungus on the tongue that sucks because you start losing taste, right? Got a few things kind of going on at the same time. A lot of fun. So I decided to go to the, I called my doctor, told him what's going on. Hey, my oral thrush kind of came back, and we get a prescription for that. Cool. Head over to the pharmacy, and not joking, I'm at the pharmacy, and they're fulfilling the order for my thrush medication, just the oral lozenges stuff. And literally right in front of me is a pamphlet on shingles. Shingles vaccine, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at it, and my dad had shingles 2 years before he died. And I remember a lot of things about it, and that's why I learned more about shingles than I ever before. Is, he has shingles, but I've already had chickenpox, so I can't catch anything from it. Shingles is not transferable, right? You're not contagious. I can't give you shingles. However, if a person that has never had chickenpox, or definitely is not vaccinated against chickenpox, comes in contact with like the fluid from the blisters, they can get chickenpox from that. So that's the essence of shingles, and the not so fun about that part. However, watching that, looking at the thing, it just like clicked. All of a sudden, my dad, the pains he had, but I didn't have a rash. I haven't had a rash, and I didn't know the exact onset that he had. But as soon as I saw that pamphlet, they filled it. I got in the car. I was driving home. I'm just like, I'm going through my brain all the things I remember he did, and all the the symptoms that he had. And I was like, this could be shingles. So, got home, immediately went into the bathroom. I had to take my shower anyway after work, ripped my shirt off, and I just saw a little kind of reddish rash. And immediately, I knew, without a shred of a doubt, I had shingles. I just knew it. Like, I can't, say anything else. So I brought my wife, took my back to my wife and showed her, that could just be like an eczema or something like that. I really don't think so. I don't get eczema. But that said, I took my shower, mulling things over in the shower. And that's when I contacted my doctor about it. And after showing him everything, and telling him all the symptoms I had, it was immediately, yes, you have shingles. So it made sense, because shingles is tied to prednisone too, because of that, the breakdown of the immune system can let that little guy through. So I'm not a doctor. Don't hold me to everything. But, so they got me on antivirals. That night, on Monday night, I started taking my antivirals. So I actually started taking the antivirals as soon as the day that the rash showed up. Which I credit to further along, basically making everything go away faster. But no matter what, you can't cure it. It's got to run its course. The only thing you can do is, by taking those antivirals, shorten the duration of the bad stuff you get. So you get a rash, and I'm going to show pictures throughout this, so if you're a little squeamish, that's not that big. It's just a red rash. It's not that bad. But it is my naked back and front, I guess. But I got a rash. That rash started where the pain started, and then it came where the second part of pain, and it wrapped around my entire torso. Now, shingles only affects half of the body, so it does not go past the center line. So my center of my chest, center of my back, it will not go over to the other side. It only affects one side. Now, I got it in the torso. Some people get it on the face and the head. Some people get it. There's a lot of places you can get it. The most common, I believe, is the torso, from what I understand. And it wrapped completely around. So it was a full-blown case of shingles, not just a spot case. The pains associated with it. Now, I do have a fairly high pain tolerance. I've been told, and I definitely think I do, and I tend to be able to hold pain very, very well. I do not call this a painful disease or virus or anything. I really don't. I don't think it's painful. However, it's like anything. If I was to take your arm, and pinch your arm, that's uncomfortable. But if I don't let go, ever, that's the best way I can describe the shingles pain. It's not painful, like you broke your arm or a kidney stone or any of that stuff. It does not even come close to those things. It really doesn't. But those are short-term pains typically. Now, I had one kidney stone, and that was pain for like 3 hours at a time in a burst. That was the most painful thing I've ever gone through in my entire life. I never want to go through that again. I will take shingles over that anytime, to be honest about it. I really would. But shingles is a consistent pain. Shingles is also treatable. The pain is definitely treatable with Tylenol or acetaminophen. So you can actually use that in conjunction with the antivirals and everything, and you're not going to really hurt anything. You just got to watch how many pills you take, because you find yourself, after 4 hours, I was burning through the Tylenol. I wanted to take more Tylenol. That first week was probably the hardest, because I was taking a lot of Tylenol. The first day after the rash appeared was just uncomfortable, and I think the first week and a half, other than the dull pains associated with that, I was getting pains in like the whole left side of my body. Eventually got pain. So one day I had pain in the elbow. One day I kind of had pain in the hand and wrist. One day I had pain. The knee pain actually sucked the most, because I kind of get these sharp little jabs, like the nerve endings, right? And that's what shingles is. Shingles is affecting your nerves. It's not actually affecting the muscle or the joint. It's affecting the nerve, and it's obviously pinpointing it in locations where there's a lot of nerve endings. The last few weeks has been, I had the kind of the nerve endings by the sternum plate. Oh man. I could touch the sternum and it would feel like, oh man, do I have what's going on there, But I know it's probably part of this. The nerve endings in the nipple are really tender. They're still tender, to be honest. And this is 4 or 5 weeks after I got everything done. So, yeah, 5 weeks since the onset of everything. The big thing about my shingles case was the tingling, the itching. You do get an itching. It's not like poison ivy, or it's not like even chickenpox or anything like that. You can itch it, right? But some people say, oh, you itch it and then everything's going to itch even more. I never found that, to be honest. I did not. I had my wife even help me itch it a little bit, just slowly just itch it. I only had 2 small blisters that opened up maybe for a day. I think the antivirals definitely helped a lot with reducing the amount of open sores that I ever would have. So 2 really, really small blisters, and they were capped off within a day. And within, I would say, about 4 or 5 days, they were basically non-existent anymore. So that was awesome. And then once about a week and a half, 2 weeks into the full endeavor, you could definitely tell the rash was reducing quite a bit. And I thought, oh, well, within the next week or so, the rash would be gone. Actually, within the next probably 3 or 4 days, that's how fast the rash was dying down. I thought, oh, I'll be done. Oh, was I wrong. Another 3 weeks later, I'm still having some symptoms. But I have been off of Tylenol altogether for almost 3 days now. I guess this would be the 3rd day. I took 1 pill yesterday at the end of the day, just to take away some of the aches I was getting. But all in all, I'm pretty much off of the drugs now. It's just I still get tingling and I still get some itching. But if you're interested at all, to be honest, if you have any questions about my experience with shingles, and if you came down with it, you know somebody that has it, you want to know more about it, let me know. I'm happy to share more of my story. I can go into more details and everything. But the big thing is, if you get shingles, don't freak out. Because I started freaking out a little bit, and then I mean, within about 5 minutes, I stopped myself. It's like, this is something that's going to run its course. I can't stop it. There's nothing. I can't control this. All I can do is live it, right? And try to make myself livable. Now, I only took the first day I went back to work on the Tuesday after I started my antivirals. The Tuesday, went back to work heavily fatigued because I didn't get a whole lot of sleep that Monday night. Worked in the morning, and then we kind of died down a little bit, so I took half a day. I took half my day off. Came back home and just laid down for a while, relaxed, tried to get more sleep that night. I think I got a little more sleep than the night before. But that was the only time I ever took off work, actually. About 4 hours off of work, and that was it. Everything else, I've been back to work. I let everybody around me know exactly what was going on. I think that's a big thing whenever you have shingles. Now, in my case, it was easily to conceal it, right? The only time I knew, the only thing I had to worry about was if I had a blister in the back that was to rupture, to make sure that stays fully contained, so it wouldn't be contagious to anybody. But I made sure everybody that around me had chickenpox, or at least had the vaccine. we have Girl Scout meetings to make sure that all the parents knew, and one of the girls had never actually even had the chickenpox vaccine, so she stayed out of our meetings for that week. And now we're back because everything's good again. But I think the big thing is understanding that this is not going to be something that's going to put you down, right? It sucks, it really does. Is it painful? Yeah, it's painful, but not like what I was reading. I was actually worried because of what I read. Now I know my dad was not very good on pain, and he made it sound like, oh, it's the worst thing on earth. And I understand that everybody can have a different effect and different take on it, but it's very uncomfortable. It's a lot of itchiness, just because the nerve endings you get that like tingly sensation. That's what you get. And if the closer it is next to a whole bunch of nerves, the worse it's going to be. So in my case, yeah, my back's itchy, but the nipple sucks because in actually a few days I actually put a Band-Aid over the nipple so that my clothes wouldn't even rub on it, right? Which, yeah, it is what it is. The sternum one sucked, and I found myself every night, if I took Tylenol before I went to bed, I would wake up when that Tylenol burned off, like 1, 2, 2:30 in the morning, and I would not be able to get to sleep for another hour and a half or so, just because of the pain and everything, and me trying to mellow it out. And I found a heating pad. It definitely helped. So after the first few nights of that reckless, just nasty sleep, threw a heating pad on my bed. When the drugs wore off in the early morning, like 1:30, 2 o'clock, I'd take the heating pad, throw it on my bed, lay down on it, throw the heating pad on it, and just let that help meld away the pain from the back on the back rash, because that's actually the most painful that I had was on my back rash. This is more tingly annoyance, and this was more pain. So, more than anything else, I just wanted to at least let you guys know exactly what I went through. I am going to be back with more videos here on this channel, and but I didn't know if I really wanted to do this video per se, but I decided, it's better to do it than not do it. So, if you or know anybody that has been through shingles, I guess, let me know. Comment below. Share, subscribe to this video. If you have any questions at all about this specific disease, this virus, hey, I'm all about talking about it. I've lived through it for the last 5 weeks, and I wanted to come back like 2-3 weeks ago, but it just gets you to the point where you just don't want to do anything. I'm finally back to, I would say, 85%. I'm back to about 85% now, and I can't wait for that last 15% to just go away. I want to be back to full normal. I don't want to even think about trying to, I need a Tylenol. I don't want that. I really don't. So I'm happy that today I haven't taken any drugs. Yesterday I took 1 Tylenol. The day before I didn't take any. So it's kind of been off and on, but I'm no longer taking 3,000 milligrams of Tylenol. And if you want to know what my daily regimen was, the first day I think exceeded the 4,000 milligram limit, which was stupid. I understand. Wasn't paying attention. I just needed it because it sucked. Day 2, which would have been Wednesday, so if I started taking my antivirals on Monday, Tuesday it was my first day, full day, with knowing what I had. Wednesday, the second full day of knowing it, I made sure I did not exceed 4,000. I actually tried to keep myself closer to 3,000. I think I actually hit 4,000 on that second day. 3,000 on the second day, because I was actually worried about the first day putting my liver to the test with Tylenol. So second day I kept it under 3,000. Third day I probably hit, third day 4,000, and then from there on out I kind of told myself, all right, from here on out 3,000. If you can keep it under 3,000 milligrams a day, if that means spacing it between it, yay. So when I'd get up in the morning, I'd take 2 Tylenol. I'd hit lunch at work and I'd take 2 Tylenol, and then I sometimes late at night, if I needed it, I'd take 2 Tylenol to finish off the day, and then that was it. During the night I would not allow myself to have any. I laid down and used the heating pad. That's after I found the heating pad. So that is the gist of it. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'm sorry if this seemed like a rambling, long video, but I feel better, and I can't wait to get back to work. So I did have that one video that I just posted a little bit ago. This is my second video back, and I have a whole bunch more. Looking around, I have a whole bunch more. So if I have a product that you sent me and I haven't done it yet, I apologize. I think I have a pretty good reason why I didn't. But that said, I apologize. I really, really do. And I hope to make it right. So, thank you for watching. Please comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And we'll catch you back here for a future video review. See you soon.